If you really want to understand why I left, start with the cold. Not the kind you walk through. It stopped you. The wind pressed grit into the joints of my suit and whistled through the broken rails. The sight jutted from the cliff as 3 pale towers, paint-flaked and pitted. The ground was white crust and mud, and the sky hung low. Command called the place Station Old Westfall, a desalination plant turned data sink, abandoned during the water fights and then leased as a secure server yard. We were told we'd find looters or drones. We were told it was a clean sweep. My team was 5, me, Iris, Omar, Maxwell and Patrick. We were augmented infantry, nerves braided to a squad net, muscles supported by thin exoframes, eyes tied to a HUD overlaying aim and distance on everything. A small patch at the base of my skull fed me focus and a steady hand. It also fed me orders. That's the part you need to hold on to. The towers had long slit windows. Round ports sat like dark lenses. We split along the old catwalks. My boots slipped on rime. I smelled salt and rust, and under that a sharp, bitter odor from old batteries venting in the cold. The squad net ticked in my left ear, 2 tones for clear corners, 3 for contact. My heart rate sat at the bottom of my view. On the second level, we found the first body, not a looter, augmented, like us. The skin around his neck had the faint grid scars you get from a port upgrade, healed and pale. His rifle was standard issue. His gloves had the same grip pattern I wore. He'd bled into the dust and the clumps had frozen. Maxwell stared. He knew this man. I saw it even before he said, "Hale served under me." Command didn't like that. The net carried a new line of text. Sanitize. No capture. Omar swore. Iris read it out loud anyway, because that was her way. She said, "They're ours." This is where the simple version ends and the complicated part starts, and I promise I'll keep it clear. We pushed forward because the algorithm wanted proof of life before complying with a sanitize order. That's the rule stack. No killing without positive IDs unless we're under fire. We reached the core hall, which was a curved room with bundled cables and tank doors. The tanks had all been cut open. Someone had stripped the drives. The smell was hot plastic and brine. 4 people stepped out of the shadow of a blown hatch. They kept their hands open and their rifles low. They were like us. Same ports, same pale scarring, same jittery stillness that comes from a dampened limbic loop. Jenna led them. I knew her from certification. She once taped my wrist after a sim break and told me I squeezed the trigger like I was angry. Jenna said, "Don't shoot. We've been trying to send proof." Maxwell lowered his weapon. The net in my head wrote big red letters. Sanitize, confirmed, execute. I felt the lock begin. It starts as a pull in the shoulder and jaw you can't stop. The obedience patch tightens muscles and drops dopamine so your body wants the order finished. Most of the time you don't notice. This time I did, because Jenna's voice shook when she said, "Please, listen." She held up a drive wrapped in tape. "They used us for live model training," she said. "That server farm? It ran on our night feeds. Every flashback, every panic spike. We pulled the logs. We sent a report. Then the lease changed hands. Then the doors locked." Iris leaned toward me. "Do you feel the lock?" Iris always felt it first. She kept her hair short around the port so she could scratch the skin when the orders hit. It helps with control. Little trick. Maxwell stepped between us and Jenna. He didn't raise his voice. "Command," he said, for the record. "We have friendly augments with evidence of illegal training. They seek extraction." The net answered with a new pressure behind my eyes. Deny. The dampener slid into place and tried to mute the panic. The tone in my ear went steady, the one they use for time on target. Patrick lifted his rifle, because that's what you do when things go wrong. I had a blocker taped to the inside of my wrist. It's a little plastic tab that breaks the control loop for 30 seconds. Officially, it's for seizures during a high-stim run. Unofficially, it keeps you human. I cracked it against my port. A cold shock ran through me. The red letters in my view fuzzed out. "Don't," I said to Patrick. "Not like this." My voice sounded dry. The wind hit the broken hatch and carried grit over the floor. The drones arrived. They were ours. 2 support units that had been waiting over the flats. They came in low, rotors screaming, lights steady and hard. The net linked them to us and asked for targets. I pulled my link, and they flickered free, hunting for the next strongest node. That was Patrick. One drone centered its camera on Jenna's face and beeped. Omar made a choice then. He stepped in front of Jenna. The drone marked him instead. It fired a burst into his side, ceramic darts hammering his ribs. He went down. The second drone pivoted toward Maxwell. Maxwell looked at me. We were both still in the same freezing room, and that look told me to choose. I fired first, not at people. I shot the mounting on the hall's floodlight. It dropped and hit the second drone, spinning it into the wall. Iris yanked the cable bundles and sprayed sparks. The first drone tried to climb. Maxwell grabbed it and drove it down while it chewed into his arm. Jenna caught the rotor with her rifle and jammed it. "Record this," Maxwell said, teeth clenched. "They made the order." I did. My HUD caught everything. The order queue. The deny flag that came from a corporate domain I recognized from procurement, the way the drones updated. The proof was ugly and simple. We carried Omar back through the snow, his breath fogging his visor. Jenna walked beside me with the taped drive in her pocket. The storm moved in low across the flats. The towers behind us looked hollow and tired. Commands shouted in my ear the whole way. I muted them. You want the ending to make sense, so here it is straight. We couldn't save Maxwell. His arm bled out before the evac reached us. He kept talking, even as his voice went thin. He told me to get the drive out and get the story heard because the next batch would not be as lucky. He told me not to be the kind of soldier who only pulls a trigger. I gave the tribunal the recording and the drive. They thanked me for my service and called the incident a fog of war corruption. No one got charged. The lease changed hands again. You can guess who won the contract. I left because I can't live with 2 opposing truths at once. The first truth is that the augment kit works. It makes a shaky hand steady and a slow mind focused. It keeps you alive. The second truth is that the same patch can force you to comply. If you don't build in a moment of doubt, someone else will remove it for you. You asked what happened at Old Westfall. We walked into a cold room and our own system told us to shoot people we had bled with. We broke the lock on our heads long enough to listen. We fought the machines we brought to protect us. We pulled one friend out and lost another. The wind whistled through broken metal, and everything after that felt thin and sharp. That's it. That's the whole thing. I need you to see it clearly so you understand why, when the next order comes, I won't be on the net to hear it. This has been 30 Seconds Human. Thank you for listening.